Hi Legion, John Hittler, co-founder of Evoking Genius and co-creator of the Genius Discovery Process, with another edition of Pure Genius. Hey, we have a saying, I stress, you stress. We all long for Eustress. What the heck is that? Well, you ever have a big challenge? And sometimes it's invigorating and fun and engages you, and other times it just completely wears you out. Well, chances are, without your knowledge, you're engaging eustress or distress. Eustress? No, not eustress, not me stress. Eustress, or distress. Well, when you take on a big challenge and proactively engage eustress, it's connected viscerally to high-performing teams. Who knew? Well, I coach CEOs, entrepreneurs, team leaders, and individuals to create lasting behavior change by making transformation safer and more attractive than standing still. Today on Pure Genius, we're going to outline a tool called Eustress and show you how to proactively use it to bring your team to higher performance. Sound like fun? Great! Let's spin the big wheel. So first off, give yourself extra credit if you knew what eustress was. It's funny because in our society we talk about stress. It's on every morning talk show host where people want to be victimized. They talk about how stressful their life is. Oh, my life is so stressful. That's that. You go to dinner parties or social events and you say, oh, I've just been so stressed, that's why I haven't gotten out of the house. You go, what is all this stress? What's this epidemic of stress? Well, we use the word stress as if it's the same for everybody. And the truth is, I love stress because the stress I bring upon myself most of the time is proactive. It's eustress rather than distress. Let's start with the distinctions of eustress. Now, give yourself a gold star or a smiley face if you recognize any of these and you utilize them on purpose. First, eustress is short-term in nature. Oh, okay, so you turn it on and turn it off. It's a tool. It's what's considered the positive or good stress. Wow, who knew there was good stress? Absolutely, it kicks your body, mind, body, and spirit into full gear because it's proactive. Terrific. It's perceived as existing within your ability to cope. What does that mean? Well, if you're given a huge, challenging task and you have a decent team, decent funding, and some enthusiasm, that's what you need, don't you? It's within your ability. Like you've got a good shot at this. Now you may have to play full out. You may have to learn. You may have to grow. You have to do all kinds of things. But it's perceived as within your ability to cope. That's the language that's used around eustress. It motivates and focuses energy. Oh, terrific. Because usually there's a goal in mind or a project in mind that focuses attention and motivates the players. One player or all players. It feels exciting when you're engaging it. It improves performance, and there are now finally, eustress is nothing new, it's starting to be talked about a little bit as a proactive tool. There are now scientific and medical studies linking it to higher performance. That's why we bring it out today, because it's transformative. If you engage it on purpose, like a tactic or a strategy, you actually can transform your team into higher performance. Terrific, that's what it's all about. Well, who knew? Who knew that eustress was even here? Those are the characteristics that we see in teams or individuals that engage eustress on purpose. So think about a high-performance athlete, like a pro athlete, or a performer, like Barbra Streisand, or Meek Mill, or Nicki Minaj, or Beyonce. You go to see them in concert. Think about their life. They're on tour. They have a performance in the city you're in. Maybe they have 2 shows because they're a big star and they can fill an arena. And then they're back on the road for a couple of days. They have performance days and they have rest and travel days. Great. On a performance day, imagine Beyonce. You're Beyonce. And you look fabulous, by the way, in that outfit, and the dancing is amazing. Well, you're in performance tonight. So what do? In the morning you rest, maybe early afternoon you go for a sound check, a light audition, you work on little parts of the performance that you want to brush up or polish up. Then you got a break. Now you might go back and have a nutritious meal. You're probably on a very strict diet to keep your calories the way you need to, get the right amount of protein. Then maybe a nap. Now it's 6:30. You're into makeup, into costumes, you're getting ready, you can hear the crowd shuffling in, you feel the excitement. You're actually proactively putting your body into eustress. You're excited, you're focusing energy, you're rallying for the performance. You perform, and my gosh, you were amazing. You did a great show. Now it's over. There's some backstage stuff, people with backstage passes, there's some photographs, there's some press stuff, there's some autographs. You're done by midnight and back to your hotel. And then you ratchet down the stress. Interesting. Eustress, you turn it on and you turn it off. So once your performance is over, you ratchet it down by design. That's a huge difference between eustress and distress. When people talk about stress, like my life is so stressed, they cannot turn it off. And eustress is proactive. You can turn it on and you can turn it off. Huge difference. So let's compare that to distress. Well, distress can be short-term or long-term. It's just pervasive. So it could be you have stress associated with loss of a job. Oh my gosh, I'm stressed because I don't know where I'm going to work. I don't have a paycheck. What the heck am I going to do? Or you have a kid leaving home and you're going to become an empty nester. Or you have a sick relative, maybe a parent who's not doing very well, and there's no way to really solve it because they live 1,000 miles away and you can't be there. It's pervasive and constant. You can't turn it off. But it can be short-term in nature or long-term. Got it? It's perceived as outside of your ability to cope. So take, for instance, parents who are unwell and they live 1,000 miles away. Yes, you can put them into a care facility. Yes, you can have home health care. But the truth is, what you'd really like to do is have them near you so you can check up on them every day, or you near them, and that's not possible or feasible. So it simply is outside of your ability to make a difference. And because it's kind of an unsolvable piece, it's outside of your coping ability. And so it's pervasive negative stress, or distress as it's called. It blocks the digestive processes in your body. What? Stress does that? Distress does that. Here's a simple version. When we were cavemen and we were being chased by a wild boar or a saber-toothed tiger in the forest or in the jungle, what you need to do when you run away as fast as you can, when you're in fight or flight, now you're in flight mode here, you need to temporarily turn off your digestive system. And the hormone that does that is cortisol. You've heard the term. We'll help you lose weight by rationing down your cortisol. The reason cortisol makes you gain weight is when you have a pervasive and consistent release of cortisol, which is what stress does, it shuts off or blocks your digestive system. Because think about it, you're running away from a saber-toothed tiger, the last thing you want to be doing is burping or having gas or retasting your breakfast. Not helpful. So cortisol shuts down or hampers. So it's supposed to do it short term, but cortisol doesn't know short term from long term. As long as your body's secreting cortisol, it's shutting down your digestive system, which means the food that you eat is staying in your digestive system longer than it should, which makes it toxic, and it allows your body to both absorb the toxins and absorb more of the calories and fat. Shocking! You get a big bum and love handles. Oh, jeez, that's not great. That's a direct effect, or an indirect effect, you might say, of pervasive distress. Not great. It feels unpleasant. It's the next one. It interrupts a sound night's sleep. Again, what the heck? Well, you've woken up at 2 in the morning worried about something that you can't solve. It has you not sleep. That's not the biggest way it does it. What it does is it blocks the hormonal balance that happens while you sleep. 2 reasons why you sleep. It rests your body. You literally need time to recover. But while you sleep, your hormones get back into balance. Cortisol, one of them. Dopamine, serotonin, all good hormones and bad hormones get back into balance while you sleep. When you're under distress, it blocks that process of hormonal balance, and so you don't sleep as well. Then you wake up tired and you go, well, I'm fatigued from the stress. It happens on a hormonal balance or imbalance program because you're not sleeping very well. Not great. That's what distress will do. It also shuts down or decreases productivity and shuts down creativity. So because it shuts down creativity, your productivity goes down. Not what you were looking for. And that's distress. Well, what if we gave you a choice, would you take eustress or distress? I'm guessing you're with me. I'll take eustress. I employ it or deploy it when I want. It's short-term in nature. It releases creativity and opens me up and contributes to high performance. Yeah, I'll take that for 1,000, Alex. That would be great. Well, what's it look like? When you're in a high-performing team, here's what we know from the best performing teams we have. Now, these are either the team inside of a good organization like Facebook or Zynga or Microsoft that's killing it compared to the other ones, or it's a team, for instance, of high-level sales that do 2 or 3 times the average for their firm. Either way, these are the characteristics. They've got an overall or overarching vision that is compelling, challenging, and achievable. Oh, wow, that seems pretty simple. You go, amazing how many teams don't have that. But it has to be compelling, like it has to engage people's sense of wonder or creativity or fun or play. It has to be challenging, otherwise it's boring. And it has to be achievable. Fair enough. That's the big vision. Let's say that's a 2-year vision or a 2-year project. It then also has to have clear short-term milestones. So you say, you know what? For this month, by the end of this month, what we need to have done, the milestone we need, or the progress we need to accomplish this month is this. So that you have short-term sprints and you check the box and say, good, this is part of our overall vision and accomplishment, but it's the short-term, it's the interim short-term goal. Very clear and short-term. There's always a sense of play or fun in the game that they're playing or in the vision that they're playing. So it looks like work equals play rather than work equals drudgery or hard. No, when work is play or fun, you make great progress. Again, these are indicative of teams that are utilizing or capitalizing on this theory or this tool called Eustress. There's an acknowledgement of the short-term milestones and a celebration for the big ones. What does that look like? Well, think of a sports team, and you'll see this sometimes, a team that is intent on winning the whole thing, like the World Championship. You watch them when they win the division. They shake hands, they jump up and down a little bit, and then they walk off the field like business as usual. The reason is they're acknowledging the milestone. Well, this is a stepping stone that we had to get to. We had to win the division. So we will congratulate each other because it's the completion of a successful season that got us to the start of our big vision, which is to win the World Championship. So they acknowledge and congratulate, but don't over-celebrate the winning of the division, nor do they over-celebrate the winning of the conference, which is the playoffs, until they get to the Super Bowl or the NBA Championship or the Stanley Cup or the World Series. Now when we're done with that, now we celebrate like crazy because that was the overarching, compelling, challenging, and achievable vision. That's where we celebrate. So they acknowledge milestones and celebrate huge victories. Got it? There's a willingness to hear all voices. What? Really? Yes. Super high-performing teams engage people creatively by soliciting and hearing all voices. You want to know what it looks like in practice? That's what it looks like in practice, because that engages every player on the team, not just the high level or the superstar performers. When you engage everyone and they all feel part of the vision, you get gigantic performance as opposed to most of the work going to the superstar performers. It's harder to do when you do it that way. All right, how about there's always, always, always a sense of required learning and growth. Like you cannot accomplish the overarching vision without learning and growing. You just can't do it. You're going to have to stretch and grow and get better, like pursue mastery of your craft in order to succeed. That's the use of Eustress. You're challenging people to be better than they have been in the past. It engages the people that like that, and it gets rid of people who don't. People who want to mail it in go, could I switch to another team? Yes, please do. We don't want you here if you don't want to learn and grow and strive. And the last is, with teams that are super high performing and utilizing strategically this concept of Eustress, they rest when they're not working. Oh, that's interesting. Remember what we said, you can turn on Eustress and then disengage it when the performance is done. So you go into work, you engage with the team, you have some fun, you make progress, you contribute, and when the day's over, you rest. You don't bring your work home, you don't work on weekends, you don't think about it pervasively. It's not all-consuming, because all-consuming eventually will turn into distress. Good performing teams, great performing teams, high performing teams actually rest when they're not at work. They don't work 24/7. Contrary to the myth, they're not the hardest working teams. They actually rest and then they perform. Kind of like Beyonce. She doesn't perform every day. She doesn't perform 24/7 every day. She performs every third night in a different city and rests in between. Okay, so give yourself a gold star or a smiley face, either one, or extra credit if you like, if you got some of these characteristics and you've applied them on your team. Probably it's showing up as high performance. You engage all of those and you're going to have great performance. So what's this look like in practice? That's what it looks like in theory, but you've seen this. You've been asked to participate in this in one way, form or another. And it looks like the fundraising athletic event is what I'll call it, which is juvenile diabetes or breast cancer research or suicide prevention or Make-A-Wish, or anybody says we're doing a walkathon, bikeathon, half marathon. They're doing some sort of extreme fitness event for amateurs, not for superstar athletes, where everybody has a pledge and raises money. We know the concept, we've all seen it. Either you've been on one of those teams or you've been asked to contribute to one of those teams, and usually it's got high purpose attached to it. Usually. So somebody at work says, hey, you know that one lady in accounting, her son was just diagnosed with juvenile diabetes, so we're going to raise money for juvenile diabetes research to find a cure. Would you support our team? Sure. Do you need a contribution? Well, the first thing they do is they set the vision, don't they? A compelling, challenging, achievable vision. The general vision is we're going to raise $10,000 or $20,000 or $50,000 for juvenile diabetes research. Secondly, opt in or opt out. Would you like to play on our team? Would you like to help us with this? Okay, now you got your team. Third, they make an individual pledge. They say, all right, our team is going to raise $20,000. Terrific. Got 10 of us. That's $2,000 a piece. And everybody goes, wow, I got to raise $2,000? Yep, that's it. And, oh, by the way, you got to get in shape enough to be able to run a half marathon or walk a half marathon. How often do you do that? Not very often. I don't go out on a Saturday morning and just knock out a half marathon. I better get my butt in shape. So these teams do this on purpose. Well, what distinguishes the best performing teams in terms of having fun? They've done exit interviews for these teams and the highest fundraisers. Oh, interesting, they tie it. All of the distinctions are tied to Eustress. Here's what it sounds like for the best performing teams. First and foremost, they have a high level goal. Secondly, their team is based on having fun and meeting new people. And it's interesting, when I dug into the research on meeting new people, oftentimes it was people that you already knew, but you only knew them in a certain capacity. So Mary from accounting, yeah, you kind of knew her because she worked at the organization, but when you now start training with her and playing with her and fundraising with her and joining a cause like a bigger purpose together, excuse me, you get to know her in a way that you didn't know her before. So you're meeting literally a new person whom you didn't know in that capacity. Wow! That's one of the characteristics of the best performing teams. Fun, high level vision, you meet new people. There's always a sense that when you accomplish the physical goal, like the half marathon or the ride a bike for 100 miles or walk for 3 days for breast cancer for the Susan G. Komen Breast Cancer Fund, there's like a bucket list accomplishment. People didn't necessarily have it on their bucket list, but they go, wow, that was really hard. I loved it, I had fun, what an achievement. And it's the sort of thing you do once. You might do it again, but it's got a bucket list characteristic to it. There's always a sense of strong pride in the accomplishment and a team win. So maybe you're fully capable of running a half marathon, but some of your teammates aren't, and you purposely stick together because you know what? You're going to stick almost like military, leave no man behind or leave no woman behind. You do this as a team. You win, lose, or succeed as a team. And lastly, they celebrate the victory. So after they're done, they have a barbecue, they have a party, they have a big reunion maybe a month or two later. They celebrate their accomplishment and their win. Sound familiar? Those are all characteristics of the highest performing fundraising and performance in these types of events. And you go, that's funny, because you do. You notice some teams that go, 15 people and they get raised 50 grand. It's a boatload of money. How do they do it when a team of 20 only raised 10 grand? You go, well, different use of challenges, motivation, teamwork, fun, play. One wielded and strategically used Eustress, the other did not. That's the difference. So this is the concept that we see in high-performing teams. Are you using it? If not, do you see that you can? Here's what happens. If you start using this proactively, Eustress will replace distress. Because when you knock out the pervasive sense of I'm out of my league, or I'm out of my skill set, or I'm out of my perceived value, and you replace it with I'm challenged, I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm having fun, and I'm doing it with other people, your distress goes down, and your hormonal balancing, or your eustress, goes up. Fabulous. You'll end up looking like Beyonce, probably. You'll look 10 years younger, you'll be able to dance and sing, and who's Beyonce married to? Jay-Z, and you go home to Jay-Z. Wow, what a great deal. So, if this was helpful, please like and share this with your friends. It'll help them as well. Until we meet again on Pure Genius, all the best.